Today on Jurgen's Journeys, I'd like to show you how I winterize my camper. Oh, his name happens to be Chase, by the way. Yeah, I finally gave him a name. But anyway, I don't use any antifreeze when I winterize, and I've been doing it like this for about 27 years on different campers. I've had this one for 5 years. This is the 4th season that I'm winterizing it. So if you're interested in how to winterize a camper without antifreeze, then stick around and I'll show you every step along the way. Well, the north wind is starting to blow. It's cooling off here in North Carolina. It's about 45 degrees here for the high today, and tonight it's going to get cold, below freezing. For me, that's cold. Now, in the coming week, they're forecasting lows in the 20s, the lower 20s. So I've been putting it off, but I guess it's time to winterize my Winnebago. It's a 2014 Mini. It's a 2101 FBS. I did a little video, walkthrough and all on it some time ago. You can go back and check that out, and I'll put a link to that right up there. I've got to winterize this baby. So come on, I'll show you how I do it. I'm not saying that you should necessarily do it that way, just whatever works for you. But I've done this now for 4 seasons, and I've never had a problem with anything freezing up. So if you have a Winnebago Mini or something close to it, this will probably work for you. Let me show you what I need first of all in order to do this. You're going to have some kind of an air compressor, and you want to get your pressure to about 30 pounds, give or take. The water system, I think, will take quite a bit more than that, but 30 pounds of pressure is adequate to blow out all the lines. Also, going to need a good size shop vac, something that'll put out some air. The shop vac I use to blow out the drains because it has a high volume of air, and I just plug the hose into the output end and use this to blow out the drains. I'll show you how I do that. Now, there are a couple of other tools that I need besides the air compressor and the shop vac. Well, I'll have to go to the van to dig those out. I keep most of my tools and camper tools in the back of the van here. And there's a couple of things that we're going to need. First of all, there's this. This is an air fitting for the compressor and a nail threaded end that fits the intake, the park water hose connection. This is where the potable water goes, and this is where we hook up the air line. There's one other thing that I need, and that's a wrench. I need a 15/16 wrench for my trailer. Let me go get that. There we go. A 15/16 open-end wrench. Now, might as well use that to get started. One of the first things we need to do is open up the hot water heater. Now, check to make sure that your water pump is off, and then release the pressure up here on the hot water tank. All right, once the pressure has been released, then we've got to loosen that bolt right there. It's a plastic bolt. I even wrote 15/16 on it because I forget from one year to the next, but that just needs to be removed. Now that I've loosened it with the wrench, I'm just going to finish opening it up and let her drain. Before we can drain the system, and just to make sure that everything drains properly, don't forget to level the trailer, front to back, side to side. Now, while the hot water heater finishes draining, I'm going to release the little valve that drains the fresh water tank. That's up underneath. Let me show you. Alright, so we got the hot water heater drained. We have the freshwater tank drained. There are two other things to open up. Well, there's the water line underneath the trailer that needs to be opened. And then we're going to open the septic valves so that the water that we flush out of the system has somewhere to drain. We're just going to put a bucket under that. We've already cleaned the septic, the black tank and the gray tank. So only thing we're going to do is just catch some water that's running out. So we'll open those next. Gray water and the black water valve. Now we're going to go inside into the bathroom closet where the valves are that open up the drain for the plumbing system. Let's go in there. Now at this point, I'm going to turn on the water pump for a few seconds just to purge that pump. You can hear when it's running free of water or pressure. So I don't want to burn up the pump. I just run it long enough to get the water out of it. Now the valves that drain the plumbing are located in the bathroom closet. Here at the bottom of the closet, there's a cover. I've already loosened the screws. There are two screws that hold this little cover. Once that is moved out of the way, it reveals the hot and cold water lines and the valves. And you simply pull up on them, and that allows the water to drain out of the plumbing. We'll go and with those open now, I'm going to open all the valves. Going to flush the toilet. Open the valves for the shower. And then also open the sink valve, hot and cold. One more, and it's outside. Now that's just to get the bulk of the water out. All right, so we've got the valves all open. We opened up the hot water tank, the fresh water tank. We've drained the plumbing, opening up all the faucets so that it can gravity drain. You know, that might be enough. I don't know. That's not enough for me though. I want to make sure that there's no water in there. So I'm going to go through, close up all the valves again, put the plug in the hot water heater and close the system. Then I'm going to introduce air pressure. So let me go close those real quick and then we'll go to the next step, which includes a compressor. All right, we have the compressor set at 35 pounds. Well, that'll work. No use to change it. We'll go ahead and plug it in. Make sure. Yeah, I've closed all my faucets, so I should get that air going into the system. You put in the plug, don't forget to turn off the pressure release valve. Start with the faucet that's nearest to our air intake. Bathroom faucet. So now the toilet. Shower. And the hot water. Another thing I like to do is take this loose, just to be sure. And now the kitchen faucet. Hot water. Let it run till all the water blows out. And then the cold water. Turn it back off. Finally, I'm going to open these valves one more time. Now we can disconnect the air. Now there's one more thing that a lot of people overlook when they're winterizing their trailers. And on these newer trailers, it's important to do. Let me show you. That's where my potable water goes. Down here, that is for the black tank flush. And we want to be sure and run air through that. Let's do that next. It wasn't much, but there's a little bit of water in that line. Now we're dry. Close that up. Close that up. Well, that takes care of all the pressurized plumbing and the holding tanks. We got the hot water heater drained, the freshwater tank drained, the whole pipe system drained. Now it's time to drain the drains. For that, we're going to use a shop vac. I'll show you how I do it. Now, the reason I use a shop vac for the drains to blow those out is because it puts out a high volume of air. It doesn't produce much air pressure, which I don't want air pressure, I want volume. So the larger your shop vac, the more volume you get. I guess you could use a leaf blower, but something that'll put out a good amount of air just to blow the water that's in the bottom of the trap out of the system. Now, if you noticed, I closed the sink on the right and blew air down the drain in the sink on the left. Both the right and the left join and have one sink trap. That's where the water stays. So you just close the one and blow air through the other, and it'll clean that out. Now remember, I left the tank drains wide open. We don't want those closed when we do this. Well, my trailer is winterized. We've taken care of all the tanks. We've blown out the pipes. We've blew out the drains. And we did all of that with the gray and black tanks wide open, so there's plenty of airflow as needed. And now I feel comfortable. This trailer could endure a deep freeze. It could go down to 40 below, and there's nothing in here to really get hurt, except maybe the stuff in the cabinets. You might want to take some of those things out if it's going to get real cold. But that's how I winterize my camper. And if you got any benefit from this, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. Give me a like, and certainly invite you to subscribe if you haven't already done that. Hit that bell icon if you want to see further episodes, videos on travels and other things. North Carolina mostly. But at any rate, I just want to wish you safe travels wherever you go, and may God bless you.